Most people believe evil comes from monsters, criminals, or broken minds. We imagine terrible actions require terrible people. That belief feels comforting because it creates distance. It tells us we could never become those people. But history keeps telling a different story. Many of humanity's worst acts were committed by normal people. Teachers, workers, parents, neighbors, and friends took part. They laughed, ate dinner, and lived ordinary lives. Then they did things they once thought impossible. Real fact: historian Christopher Browning found many wartime killers were average citizens, not fanatics. They were not born monsters. They looked just like everyone else, including us. If ordinary people can cross that line, where exactly is the line? Most of us trust our moral compass. We believe we would resist wrongdoing when it matters. We picture ourselves as heroes. Psychologists decided to test that confidence. What they discovered shocked the world. In experiments, people followed harmful orders surprisingly often. Many participants felt uncomfortable. Many protested, yet many continued anyway, not because they enjoyed causing pain, because someone in authority told them to continue. Real fact: Stanley Milgram's 1963 study found many participants obeyed authority despite distress. The results challenged everything people believed about themselves. How can a simple instruction overpower personal conscience? The answer is not simple. There is no evil switch hidden inside the brain. Instead, many small forces work together. Each force seems harmless alone. Together, they become powerful. A person takes one small step, then another, then another. Soon the destination looks completely different. The frightening part is how normal it feels. Few people wake up planning to do harm. Most simply adapt to their surroundings. Real fact: social psychologist Kurt Lewin showed behavior is strongly shaped by situations. The environment often matters more than personality. But why do situations have such power over us? Humans evolved as social creatures. For thousands of years, survival depended on groups. Being rejected could mean danger. Our brains still carry that ancient wiring. We naturally watch what others do. Then we adjust our behavior, even when the group is clearly wrong. This tendency is called conformity. Most people think they are independent thinkers. Experiments suggest otherwise. Real fact: Solomon Asch found many people agreed with obviously wrong group answers. They saw the truth with their own eyes. Yet they followed the crowd. Not because they were weak, because belonging feels safe. What happens when an entire crowd heads the wrong way? Authority creates mental shortcuts. We assume leaders know better. We trust experts. We trust institutions. Most of the time, that trust helps society function. But trust can also become dangerous. When authority speaks confidently, doubt becomes quieter. Responsibility feels transferred upward. People begin thinking someone else is accountable. Real fact: Milgram reported many participants continued because the experimenter accepted responsibility. This changed how people viewed obedience forever. If responsibility can be handed away so easily, what protects our choices? Imagine being asked for a small favor, then a slightly bigger one, then another. Each step feels reasonable, because each step is close to the previous one. Looking back, the distance becomes obvious. Looking forward, it rarely does. This process slowly changes what feels normal. Real fact: researchers call this the foot-in-the-door effect. Small commitments can increase larger commitments later. Few people notice the shift while it happens. The road feels ordinary until the destination appears. Could that happen in everyday life right now? One powerful tool is dehumanization. People stop seeing individuals. They begin seeing labels. Groups become categories. Categories become stereotypes. Stereotypes erase complexity. Once humanity fades, empathy weakens. The other person feels less real, less personal, less important. Real fact: studies in social psychology show people show less empathy toward groups they dehumanize. Language plays a major role. Words can quietly change perception. What happens when millions share the same labels? Large systems require many small actions. One person stamps a paper. Another follows instructions. Another looks away. Each action seems insignificant. Together they create enormous consequences. Many participants never considered themselves villains. They viewed themselves as doing their jobs. Real fact. Historian Hannah Arendt described this as the banality of evil. The phrase shocked readers worldwide. It suggested evil can appear ordinary, not dramatic, not obvious, not easy to recognize. If evil can look normal, how do we spot it? Thankfully, no. The same science reveals something hopeful. One brave person can change everything. Courage spreads through groups. Resistance spreads too. When someone speaks up, others feel permission. Suddenly the crowd is no longer unanimous. The spell begins to break. Real fact, variations of asch studies found conformity dropped when one person disagreed. A single voice mattered. One person created space for truth. Could you be that person when it counts? The answer is uncomfortable. It is not usually monsters. It is pressure. It is conformity. It is obedience. It is fear. It is silence. It is one small step repeated many times. But there is another answer too. Ordinary people also perform extraordinary acts of courage. The same person who follows can resist. The same person who stays silent can speak. The same person who looks away can step forward. History is filled with both choices. Every generation faces them, including ours. Real fact. Research consistently shows social support increases moral courage and resistance. The lesson is not that humans are evil. The lesson is that humans are influenceable. That truth is frightening. Yet it is also empowering. Because influence works both ways. Every act of kindness influences someone. Every act of courage influences someone. Every refusal to follow wrongdoing influences someone. The next time a crowd moves one direction, pause. The next time authority demands obedience, think. The next time silence feels easier, remember this. The future is shaped by ordinary people. Not superheroes. Not legends. Ordinary people making ordinary choices. And perhaps the most important question is not why others do terrible things. Perhaps the real question is this. When your moment arrives, what kind of ordinary person will you be? ND.